Hi, this is Kim Pinkney, and I am just setting up right now, making sure everything's good to go. Now this live stream is going to be about doing expressions. I apologize if you can hear my fan. It's like 95 degrees outside and about 80 to 100 inside. So just give me a second. I'll see if I can move the fan so it's not like blowing directly on me and the microphone. What you're seeing now is a time-lapse replay right out of EasyPoser, and this is me editing it, and I'll show you how I do this sort of thing. If you haven't seen any of my videos, or you caught some of the speed draws, you'll be able to see me do this like from scratch. So give me one quick second. Let me move this fan here. Now, if it's still too much for you guys, just let me know and I'll move it again. But I am roasting in here, so I don't know how long I'll be able to keep this up. But okay, so this was a draw on your own style type of thing, and this is Ren from the cartoon, the 80s cartoon. Crap. It's so hot I can't even think. The Pirates of Dark Water. And in the program, you can't edit the faces. You can't. I'll show you what you can and can't do, so let me go ahead and get started on that. Okay, we are done. Okay, so yahai. We'll go ahead and start a fresh one here. You can create your own, this is called character template. This is an 11 by, go back, 11 by 8.5, and I had just exported all the different from the same face and just turned it slightly and then brought it all in and put it all on its same layer. And so if you wanted, you could either draw directly on top of this, or you can trace over it and, you know, put it in your own style, just so that you can keep the consistency of the bodies. All right. Okay, so one of my subscribers had asked me a long time ago to draw an Aztec guy, and I've been kind of like putting it off, but I guess this would be a good time to try it. So let's see. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go into, let me create another screen so we can just hop right back into here. And what I usually use is the highest settings I could possibly use. So 600 DPI, let's come up here, 600 DPI, I would only have a maximum of 6 layers, but this is like the high, really super high setting. Let me see if I change it to 300. Let's see, will it give me any additional, and we'll change this to inches. And let's see, we'll make it a width of 11, and we'll make the height about 8.5. So it'd be like, if I needed to print it out, it would be something like the horizontal. So now I have a maximum of 59 layers, which is absolutely perfect. It's 300, so it's suitable for printing. It won't be pixelated, but it won't be that super crisp high res either. But 300 is great for printing. So let's go ahead and call this, let's see, what kind of canvas do we want to call this? We'll call this like I'll put like 300, so I know it's 300. Oh, before I even finish all that, time-lapse settings. I want them to be like great settings. So we'll do 4K, good quality's okay. Let's see. We'll just do good quality. Hopefully it'll look good when we do a replay. I'm not sure if lossless is really good. If I do that, I'm scared that it might not export properly. Let's see. Or was it lossless and not HEVC? I can't remember. Something in here, it would make it like I couldn't export it properly. But anyway, there's always the time lapse. So we got our dimensions, and we're going to call this 300 DPI just to set it apart from the rest, and 11 by 8.5. You can hop right on in, but it's like, this helps me if I want to use this again. And I should have changed the background color to something that won't like make your eyes bleed. So let's go ahead and bring the background color down to something that's not going to like put our eyes out. Okay, there we go. So now we're ready to receive. And let's go ahead and hop into EasyPose. And we'll go ahead and start. See, I've already got a setting of females here. I'll go ahead and knock it that way. And what I can do, instead of getting rid of this completely, I can also save this by hitting one of these buttons at the top here. You see where let's see, I don't know if I can expand. No, I can't. Up at the top here, you'll see like the eyeball, that cube, that. And then at the ends here, you can see the up arrow and down arrow. You want to go to the down arrow. That gives you your save scene. Find a place here that you can use that's empty, or you don't mind sacrificing. And I think I'll sacrifice this one right here. And we'll save the scene just by hitting the word save scene. And it says it's not empty, and I'm like, okay. So that's saved. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch these characters out. So I'm just tap one, go to the little gear next to the person. I'm going to swap the model, and I'm going to put in, let's see, I want this guy to look like he's kind of like Aztec-y type stuff. We could do like a little Aztec hero. Yeah, we'll use this guy right here, the Fit Boy. Okay, and then we've already swapped him, and I'm going to try to slide him over a bit, just so that he's not going to hit himself when we put the new one in. There we go. Touch that one. We'll do the same thing. We'll swap the model. Fit Boy. Okay, now he looks like he's holding his own hands. So let me touch this guy and move him over. We're going to have to do a little bit more moving, because he's going to be a big one. So we got the front, back, swap model, Fit Boy, and you notice that they're still holding on to the same pose. I'm going to slide him over too. And before I export, I'm going to hit this button down here that's next to the person with the gears, and pop him back up onto the screen here, because right now he's slipping into the ground. Slide him over. See how his toes are going under? I'm going to hit that button. It brings them all up at the top. We'll change her out. Okay, Fit Boy. And we'll put him up. And then we'll swap her out. Swap model, fit boy. And then we'll just slide him on over. All right. Okay, I'm going to make sure that he occupies the entire scene. And slide. Okay. That's not too bad. If you want to, let's see. Like right now, all I'm messing with is the camera. So I need to get this guy in the scene. And you can, if you can't seem to move your camera properly, just hit the camera button at the top there. And we can move it horizontal and vertical so that we can get the best view that we possibly can. Since we're working on, let's see, expressions, I'm going to move in to where I can see like the first three chests. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and save. Bring that down. It's under save scene. Find my little area. Let's see, who do I not care? Where I've already done a pose of. Yeah, I've already done. Probably will not revisit. Probably this one. I'll just save the scene. Okie dokie. So we've got our fellows here. And we're just going to zoom in. I'm going to move the camera down. Okay, close. Move the camera down. Move forward. Move up. Move horizontal. Turn the guys just so much so that we can get more multiple views. Move horizontal again. Okay, so we'll probably focus on these. Yeah, I guess we can get away with that. I'm going to see if I can move this guy a little bit. I'm going to move him in a little bit. He'll be behind. I just need to get his faces close. Let's see. It won't matter. Let's see. So we'll do this because I'm only going to use this once. You know, actually, he wanted me to draw on a t-shirt, creating the Aztec guy, but this will work just as fine. Okay, so we got our fellow right here. We've got his forward, his 3/4, and his side profile. And what we'll do is we're going to go save. We're going to export this out so that we can edit it. So we'll go ahead and go to the eyeball. And you want to choose the third one in, which is the camera without the background. So we'll hit that. So we've got a screen capture of that. And then we'll do the same thing with the girl. Let me get back. Hit the eyeball again. Go to the arrow pointing upwards. And we're gonna, what this does is it loads the scene. It'll take whatever you've saved down below here and replace it with whatever is here. Everything else will be gone. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit that. I'm gonna load the scene of the girls again. And then we've got the girls here. And let me put her back. Now this won't edit or replace what we have already for that we've already got saved. So if we manipulate this, we still have an instance of what we've saved before. So all I'm doing is just bringing this forward. Oops. Nope, nope, nope. Let's see. Hit the undo button. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the camera again. And I'm going to move it forward. Vertical. Move it horizontal so that they're forward. Let's see. And we'll just take whichever one we like the best. And we'll create some expressions. And it'll be just the expressions of the same character. So we'll have a good face forward. 3/4 and side view. All right, I'm happy. You happy? I'm happy. We can always go bigger too. Let's go a little bit bigger. We're going to move the camera forward, then horizontal. And we'll move it down just a bit. Now you can export with like clothes and hair and stuff like that if you want. But now as what you can, the only other thing that you can do in here, you can't change their expression inside this program. There's like nothing for it. But you can move their eyeballs. You can have them look to the left, to the right, look down, look up. And that's basically all you can do besides, just moving the head. So let's put that forward. This one, you can have it there, or you can just move one eye. I think it's. I wonder why it does that. Oh, so you can color it. So you can take that off. Let's see, left eye only. Oh, there you go. You can make them cross-eyed. Or if the eyes aren't quite where you want them, you can hit apply to both eyes and then move them wherever you want, so it makes more sense. But again, you can't export the image and you cannot edit the image while it's here. So let's continue. So we've got, hey Patty, how you doing? Long time no talk. Okay, so now we've got our heads, and we're just going to go ahead and export them too. And I'm just going to hit that third one. Okay, so we just took a screen capture. All right, so let's go ahead and do some editing. We're going to go back into Procreate, and what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our our two models here. Let's go ahead and hit Add, insert a photo, and it shows up in your little photos. Let's see, we'll bring the ladies in. All right, so when you bring them in, the image is not quite, what's the word? It's not quite transparent. Like, let me put a little thing behind them. Let's see, we'll do like a little rectangle. Whoops. Behind, Kimberly, behind. There we go. And we'll drag that below. I'm not sure if you can see it, but you can see like this ghost image of a rectangle around. You gotta get rid of that. And that happens every time you bring it in. Now what I'm going to be doing is drawing on the character itself. And the way to get rid of that rectangle, there's a couple different ways that you can do it. One way is to just go to it. Let me get rid of this. We don't need that anymore. Because I think we can see the square just fine now. You can see it better even on the screen. Okay, we can, let's see, how would I get rid of it? I would go to Select. And there's one here called Automatic. You can hit that. And what it'll do is select all the outside, and then you just kind of move it up, up, up. Let me undo here. Let me do it again here. Let me see. I could probably select inverse. Okay, let's try it again. Here, if I hit select, it hits that. We take the, I don't do this often. Okay. If I drag it, okay, it just drags the people. It took them out. It's not what I wanted to do, but it took it out. Let me see, reset. if I do, let me try it again. Okay, this is what I want to do. I want to hit select. I apologize. Usually I remember how to do this. It takes a bit. Take the color fill off so you get just a plain selection and it doesn't give you a background. Hit the background. So far it's got everything. You just hit the arrow and you should be able to just drag it right off your screen. There we go. And we just do it again. We have it set on automatic and hit those little areas like that are, oops, that should do it. And yeah, so just drag it right off the screen. And now they should be completely background free. Put that back underneath. And you shouldn't see any more rectangle or anything like that. Now they are kind of squared off. Hi, Galaxy. Okay, now they are kind of squared off. Let me get rid of this. We don't need that. Delete. Okay, so you see how they're all like, it's got like these little hexagonal things, and I'd like to get rid of that. Usually when I kind of soften the area, and I think I found another way of doing it too. Let me see. Let me try something. I usually make a duplicate, and you can hit select. It should select everybody in here. And I believe if you go to feather, it might be able to soften your edges just a smidge, but it seems to kind of make it fuzzy. That's one way of doing it. Another way that I like doing it is, let's see, did I feather the right one? Select, feather. Let's see, it didn't select. Okay, hit that, select, feather. It just kind of softens the edge. It doesn't really take the, it doesn't look like it takes the because it's so hard. Let's see if I turn that off. Yeah. But it does kind of soften the edge, but it's not perfect. Another way I do it is just take the little finger here, make sure it's on a soft brush, and just kind of lightly go over the edge here. Now you can also do, oh yeah, you can also just go around and just kind of soften it this way with your brush. Now, there's more than one way of skinning a cat, and see how it just gives it a softer edge. And you can also outline it if you want. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to do expressions. I had received a message on one of my videos asking me, how do you save and how do you create expressions. Well, you can't do it in the program, but you can do it when you export it. So one of the ways that I've found to do expressions, it's weird how her face looks warped like that. I usually take, and I want to do multiple heads, so let me fix her head. What I usually do is take from the adjustment tab here, go to liquify, and I use the push here. Depending on how much I want it to change, I would mess with the distortion, but I don't want it to change everything too much, so I kind of leave the distortion down to about 1920. The size has to do with how much you're going to be distorting, so it'll only distort that much. But if I needed to distort the entire head, it would occupy that much and it would move it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to pick a point in the center and just kind of tweak it just a bit. And I will be using this a lot to make expressions. So now she doesn't look so weird. Now this is where you can have a lot of fun stylizing your character. I'm going to take this head and I'm going to make a couple different copies of it, so that we'll be doing like a couple heads just facing forward. Let's see, so we're on the layer 1. I'm going to use my rectangle tool, and I'm going to just make a little rectangle of the head. It'll select it, and you got the copy and paste at the bottom here. Just hit that, and what it does is it sticks it on another layer. So we'll just move that this way. Now you also have the choice that, oh, actually, you know what? Before I do all that, let me delete that. Let's go ahead and make her look like something. You know, you have a lot of freedom to do whatever you want to this while it's in like this gray stage. In EasyPose, if you wanted to give them like a color, let me see how I can get out of that. If you wanted to color their skin inside the program, you would do like, let's see, which one am I editing? Okay, we're going to edit this chick here. Alright, you can color them, but it throws clothes on them. I like mine that are nude because I can add the clothes as I want. But to change their color, you just hit the little gear person and the gear here, and you can change their color. Give them more of a skin tone, but you see it automatically throws something on them. So if you don't want to erase all of that, just go ahead and export them as gray. And this place here is where you can also do like hair color and props, things like that once you have them. You see it's like swap model, and then you can add costume, and you can like turn them into a little schoolgirl. Let me close that. You can change the color of all the stuff, and you can export it with the clothing, and you can edit and mess with it as you want. But if you tried to get the skin color, if you're trying to export them with their, you know, with the colors that comes with the program, it just won't let you without having the default clothing. Just a little thing like that. And also, if you know what I've never tried, swap model. There's these other models that are in here, and I have never tried to export them. Just for giggles, I just wanted to see what it would do. I need the camera, so I'm going to move camera. I'm just going to do a quick 2-finger. I'm going to make everybody else kind of, let's see, that's our girl here, so I'm going to try to make everybody else kind of disappear for the moment, or I'll just delete them. I just wanted to try something. Delete model. Same place to get rid of them is the same place where you color them. Hit that person with the gear, and you can hit delete model. Okay, it's just everybody with a little bow is what I'm getting rid of. And I've never messed with this other character. Now you can't take their clothes off or anything like that, but they're pretty impressive looking, and none of these clothes are in the program. This is just one of their things. I don't know, but you can take a picture of them and then download it. You can change their pose. Like if I wanted to bring her into Procreate, I can't export the 3D model. That's another thing that people are like kind of sad about, that you can't manipulate the model. You can't, you know, you can't change her clothing here, I don't believe. You know, I never tried. Let's see, there's that. Change color. Prop color. No props. Let's see, let's try, close that. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm able to change the color. Yeah, nothing's changing. But it looks like if you give her a prop, you'll be able to change that. Let's see, you can probably put her in poses though. You can give poses to Enchantress here. It looks like if you go to presets, yeah, you can change her poses. If I gotta close this. And let's see if I can slide her over. I like when you move them, you know, it has like that sort of thing, but it's kind of useless because you can't really do anything with it. Presets, so you can make her stand. And there's even a thing in here where you can make them walk, but it can't export any of it. So it's just kind of just something to play with. And it kind of just wastes time. But if you want to draw her, I guess you're more than welcome. Anyway, enough with her. Okay, so let's get out of this program and let's do that. I just wanted to see what I could do and what I can't do. Okay, so I'm going to make this character look like something that I would draw. So one of the things that I do is change the skin tone. And what I'll do is I'll duplicate that. I'll turn that one off. Just duplicate it one more time, just so that we have the original layer, in case we want to go back or do a comparison or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to change the skin tone to, let's see. When I do that, I'm hit select, go to the color fill. That's down below here, so that when I do make a selection or whatnot, it will fill. I would go to select, and it fills it with whatever is here. And what it's going to do is become a layer that I can manipulate. So I've got a couple different things that I can do with this fill. I can make it a multiply layer, which means it's affecting the one that's below. If it was gone, it'd just be like that. You just can't see anything. So it's affecting what's below it. And let's see, sometimes I use multiply. And these are just different, if you've got a character that is looking more like kind of tannish or whatnot like that, you can do color burn. There's linear burn, lighter, screen, color dodge, add, overlay. Sometimes I use overlay. Just depends on what kind of image I'm trying to create. So if I'm going to try to do a character that is similar to what I have in the thumbnail, I'll just find the one that I like best that goes with the skin tone. Let's see, multiply is really dark. Color burn gives you a little bit of highlights. Overlay is kind of like a gentle coloring. Got hard light. Vivid light is good because it gives you a nice, kind of like a nice little outline around her. But it, and linear light is like you kind of lose your highlights a bit. Some of them take the highlights out completely. So I want to try to find one that's more of a balance between, still gives me that brown tone. And what I'm doing is I'm basically creating like a base color. And then from that base color I would work how I'd want it. Let's see, that's normal. And this is linear burn. That's a little bit darker. Color burn's not too bad. Multiply is just complete. It takes everything out. Let's see. Which one do I like the best? Overlay is not too bad. There was another one that wasn't too bad either. Vivid light's not too bad because it lets me keep my highlights, and I think I want to do that. Okay, so I've got that tone, and this is going to be my, let's see, if I hit select again, I can change the coloring, make it as dark or as brown as I need it to. And when I'm happy with it, I'll go ahead and hit, let's see, we use a different tone here. I'll go ahead and merge the layers. Now I like an in-between tone that's kind of peachy. Let's see, let me try a different layer mode here. And then you can also determine how much of that tone you want by messing with the opacity. So that's not too bad, but it's still, that's really close. Okay, I like that. Let's try another. Depending on how hard you want your light and edges to be. I want it to kind of be a warm tone. Vivid light's not too bad. Linear light's not too bad either. Let's try that. And we'll just hit select. And we will manipulate the color. A little bit. See, I do want a kind of peachier tone. There we go. Okay, so that'll be like my base tone. Okay, so here's where you can do all kinds of crazy manipulations. I don't like how distant the eyes are from each other here, and I'm going to merge my layers down. And even if you, let's see, if you wanted to edit any part of this, like you didn't want the head to be, you know, browned or whatnot like that, you can always erase on that layer and just kind of, you know, take out whatever you don't want. So like if I wanted it to, the eyes to be a little clearer, we can have a different tone on it, we can do that. Okay, and sometimes I like to have a source image, and then I just layer it down, bring it down. You know, you have your options. You have a lot of things that you can play with. For me, I like kind of keeping the tones just as is. I'll just go ahead and merge, because I'm going to make edits anyway. I might not even keep the same eyes. Things that you don't want for your expressions or whatnot, we're going to do a neutral expression for the front, and then we'll make, you know, different expressions off to the side. That way, if you're going to create a profile for a character that you're like making a comic for or anything like that, you'll have that to the side. Okay, so for something like this, I'd like to stylize the eyes a little bit more. I've done other videos where I have, and if you guys have any questions, just let me know, and I'll just go ahead and throw a little bit of something up in your way. I like to make my own hair and eyelashes and things like that. So let's go ahead and soften. And what I'm doing is I'm taking that the little blue finger here, the smudge brush, and it is set to soft brush. And I'm just going to move from the color to what I want to obscure. So I'm going to obscure these eyelashes just by dragging close to it like that. Because I want to try to keep the tones that are already here. And now your best friend in manipulating The character is going to be um, the liquefy tool. That will be your best buddy in this, because we are going to liquefy the crap out of this girl. And that's how I usually go about morphing my characters. Another secret that I like to use is I like to get a source image. So I'm going to find a source image that I like, and then I'm going to kind of use those ideas. It just kind of helps me figure out how I want the eyes to look sometimes. If I'm doing something that is more color oriented or anything like that, or if I wanted it to look like a movie star of some sort, you know, I would go ahead and find a source image. I'm going to use this as a kind of idea of how I want the face to kind of look. I want those pouty lips. I'm going to make her eyes big and luminous. I'm going to look at some of the color tones that are here, the way the shadows are, and I'm going to see if I can emulate that and give it an expression. So that is my inspiration, and I'll go ahead and stick her off to the side here. I wonder if I can make this smaller. Let me grab it. Copy image. That way you guys can kind of see what I'm doing and what I'm modeling it after, and you know how I can make it happen. It's not going to look exact. That is not my intention. Let's see, I need a folder. Now I'm going to use my Google Slides, and that's another best friend when it comes to manipulating pictures and whatnot. You could use, like if I had this saved onto my iPad, I can just go ahead and look at it that way. But I can only zoom in so far, and it takes up valuable real estate. At least that's what I consider valuable real estate. So I'm going to squeeze this in. But I like those pouty lips. Let's see if I can. There we go. Not that this isn't taking up valuable real estate as well. Okay, there we go. Alright, so that's kind of what I'm aiming for. Something kind of cute like that with the lips. Okay, so with the eyes, they feel like they're a little bit far apart, so I'm going to use my selection tool, freehand. Now you have a lot of choices. You can, like if I wanted to keep the eyes kind of the way they are, I can make a selection, make sure I'm on the right layer. Okay, make a selection of them. Whoops, one more time, third time's the charm. Make a selection and just copy and paste, and what it'll do is just stick it on another layer. I'm going to do I can either do it again with the other eye, or I can just keep that and just duplicate it when I'm ready. And this, oops, got to be on the right layer. Okay, we're there. Oops, and the right tool. And then copy and paste. Alrighty, so I've got my two eyes set to the side there. So if I do any kind of distortions or whatnot, I'm going to turn them off for now. Be on the right layer. If I do any distortions here, I'll still at least have that. Or I could come back down to this one and edit, you know, grab, pick and choose or whatever off of that. Anyway, so on this layer here, I'm going to move the eyes, or at least this eye here. I'm going to move it slightly closer, and then I'll do the same thing with the other eye. Now if I do this, if I keep it on the same layer, you know, I'll have this little gap here. To deal with something like that, you can use your little finger here, and you can go from where the color is and just drag that and fix it. And just wherever you see the tones and stuff, you could just kind of push them into each other so that it kind of blends a little bit better. If I want to make the eyes even bigger, I can do the same thing. I'm on the same layer. Now I can either manipulate it right here, like I made my selection, and I can manipulate it right here, or and just tap. I'm doing the 2-finger tap to bring it back. Or what I can do is I can put it on its own layer, copy and paste, and then I can manipulate it here. Tilt it, move it, make it look more diagonal. It just depends on whatever I feel like, in order to kind of, try to get to what I'm trying to get to. All right, so we have options basically. All right, so that was one way of manipulating, is that you can either put it on its own layer. Like if I wanted to manipulate just the head shape, if I do that on it's on the the same layer down here. If I manipulate it where it is, I run the risk of distorting everything. So under liquify, and I just want to say I want to just kind of move this in a bit to give her that curve on the skull, the cheekbones and whatnot. And you see how it depends on how big you make your push selection. Let's see, and I want to bring this down a little bit. Give her more of a pointed chin. There we go. And we'll move that nose up just a bit. And then you can just kind of shape. Now I've got part of her ear right next to here, and what I want to do, instead of manipulating the ear and then messing up the side of the head, like the ear is really tiny, I'm going to go ahead and make that a little bit bigger. I could put it on its own layer, so I can just like do a 3-finger sweep and hit copy, and then I can just or just make that selection and just do copy paste. Now it puts it on its own layer, and then I can go back to the layer I was on, and I can erase this ear here, and see the ear is on its own layer. We can manipulate that. We'll put it there, and then we can make her even more elvish, and we'll bring that down to beneath it, so it's still behind. And usually ears, now the upside to having this particular image is, like, if you grab it, like I can take it and grab it on my iPad. Let me see, that one is the Untitled. Let's see, it is under my slides. Okay. I can copy it or edit slide. Let's see if it'll let me copy. For some reason, my iPad won't let me paste. See, it doesn't paste it anymore. It used to let me paste. Now it doesn't let me. So I would have to, if you ever have that problem with your iPad, it doesn't want to paste from your slides, you can always go here. It's in your clipboard, and there it is. Okay, so I can snag this or save it. So let's see. I'm going to share it with myself here. Share image is going to be a JPEG, and I'm just going to stick it down to save images, and it'll be in my pictures. Okay, so we got that. Go back to Gallery. Come back here. Hit that little tool, the little wrench tool. Go to Add, or rather, Canvas. No, it was Add. Insert a. No. It should be. We should be able to go to Canvas. And I believe it was reference, yeah, and then image, import image, and there she is. Now, one reason to do it like this, if I wanted her skin tone like super bad, or if I wanted to bring her up, it just takes up a lot of real estate, and sometimes it gets unruly to use. But if I wanted her skin tone, like, I could just click on that, and then I could kind of sample. See, this is the kind of color that is my base, and then when I'm ready to go darker, I can either sample it from her, or I can just kind of eyeball it. But I'm just kind of manipulating the head first. Okay, so right here, she's got like an eye bag. I'm going to, like, some of these eyes we really don't need. So we'll keep those two here. Let me turn them back on so I don't lose them. Okay, they're both together. Okay, so I'm going to keep that eye. I'm going to delete this one. I just want to keep my, layers as, you know, to a minimum of a certain sort. Okay, so I got that, and if I was emulating that, I'm going to create a layer above. And I'm going to call, let's see, this is going to be a clipping mask. Now this will let me add color to the girls here. I'm going to use a soft brush. And then I can start painting the tones that I want. And I can either sample it from here, which is the beauty of having, let me clear that, the beauty of having that. Now I can also, this will also just stay on the ladies here. It should, yeah, it'll only stay on the ladies because it's only clipping to whatever's down here. So if I was on this layer and I put a heart here, on the clipping mask, because it's only clipping to what's on beneath it, I can color that, and it won't mess with anything outside of it. It won't go behind it. It also will affect this. So, but that is what the clipping mask does. So I use that a lot. Let me see, let me clear this. And also the clipping mask can get all kinds of, what's the word, layer effects as well. So I want to give it more of a reddish brownish tone. So I'm not trying to like get this lady exact. This is about the tone of her cheek. I don't really want that. I want a darker brown. Let me see. Let's see. One of my go-tos. Let's try that brown. And you want to get a color that doesn't look too muddy. See, that looks a little muddy. Sometimes when you're trying to paint, sometimes too much of it comes out at once. Like that's just like too much. Sometimes you want to be able to build it up a little bit. Drop your opacity down and see how that works for you. I'm going to try a different brown. There we go. And then you have a little bit more control. And the more you tap, the more you'll get. So you have different layers of, or shades of brown that you can work with. The more you tap, the darker it will get. So we have that going on. So I'm just going to come around, just kind of give her a little bit of tonnage here. I like also to put nostrils. I like to give my people a nose. So let's go ahead and do that. You can either go black or go brown. Usually I like to do like a deep dark brown to create my nostrils. And this will also help with the expression when we get there. And you know, let me see, instead of putting it on that layer, let's put it on its own. So this one will be like my coloring layer. This next one here, it doesn't have to be a clipping mask because we're not really worried about going out. Okay, and just pretty much put those in there. You can work with what's already here. Same thing with the lips. I'm going to put that on its own layer as well, so that when we're ready to come back to it. And you know what, just for giggles, I'll go ahead and label this. I'm sorry, you probably can't even see it. Let me get rid of this one, we don't need it. Okay, there we go. So that's what I had just added, the nostrils. So we'll just call this the nose. And these layers will disappear. So this is just for giggles. Okay, this one here will be lips. Close enough. And this is going to be, let's see, I want to say mid-tone. Midtown, close enough. That might mess with us. Oh, it speaks Kim. All right, okay, so we've got our mid-tone, our nose, our lips. We can just call this ear. If we want to throw an earring or whatnot. And then this is our base layer. So everything right now is going to be affecting this particular layer. We can always turn it off, we can manipulate it, we can make it darker, we can make it lighter, yada yada yada. Okay, so we've got our mid-tone layer. Let's make some lips. Now, she's got her lips kind of pouty and whatnot. Let's go ahead and give her, we're just going to make this, what is it called, neutral. And then we'll make a smile in the next set. So you can just use a soft brush. Now, one of the things I like having is, because it reminds me of different things, is when you make lips, you've got highlights that go onto the lips as well as you know, shadows and whatnot. That's one of the good things about having a source image. Sorry, I can't see my, there we go, in case you guys had any questions. Okay, I couldn't see my chat window here. And then we'll just kind of keep her mouth closed a little bit. But, okay, we should be on the lip layer. All right. Now we can also fill it in a couple different ways. She's got, I like the color of her lips there. Let's see. Bum, bum, bum. But let's see, we're going to make it a little bit browner, make her a little bit more natural. So we're just going to make a selection. Using the freehand selection tool. And then we've got our color fill selected. We'll just go ahead and move that to the side. Let's see if I can make this, whoops. Let me just hit this to make it fill. This is what I talk about. This is taking up valuable real estate. Trying to make this a little smaller. Will it let me move you? There we go. Alright. Okay. Back to our lips. I just need to get to this bad boy down below here where it says add. So hit that. And then hit add. And then it will be, that'll be the upper lip. Let's go ahead and make another one for the lower lip. And we'll make it just a little bit lighter. And we'll make it a little redder. Alright. And we can even, and then when it comes to like editing the lips, you can give it its own. We turn off the clipping mask here. The only one that really needs a clipping mask is the mid-tone. We'll put that down here. And then everybody else really doesn't need a clipping mask because we're going to give them their own clipping masks. Let's see, what layer is that on? Yes, okay. Alright, and this is really rough. Let's go ahead and clean some of this stuff up. Alright, so you can either add your highlights as you go, or you can manipulate things, you know, at will. So I'm going to start with the eyes, and then I'll come back and I'll define the face a little bit more. I don't like these eyebrows, so let's start from the top down here. I'm going to get rid of the eyebrows. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can, we're down here on layer 1. You can either make a selection of a color, oops, that's beneath it, like that. You can copy and paste it, and you can put it over it. You know, you can put it over it, and then you could just kind of blend it in. Or if you're, you know, and I just merged it, or you can take your finger tool, because if you want to keep the same tones that are there, you take your finger tool and just the finger tool, the blending tool. Blending tool, is that what it calls it? The smudge brush, and you could just kind of blend it out that way. Because one way is good for if you have lots of layers to play with. Making another layer won't make a difference, but if you have like a higher resolution image and you try to do it, you know, there's two different ways of skinning the cat, basically. Okay, so now we know that we've got our eyeballs saved. Oh, we're going to do the eyebrows real quick. Okay, One of the ways that I like creating eyebrows is I use the hairbrush. It is the fine hairbrush. Let's see, I think that'll do it. Fine hair brush. I've manipulated these brushes, so I've made duplicates of them. Okay, we're going to give her dark eyebrows. We're going to make sure that they're on their own layer. We don't need it to be, oh, I'm going to bring this up. And we don't, okay, because we don't need it to be, go. Can you guys hear me okay? Just wanted to make sure. Okay. And we'll just give her some eyebrows. Alrighty, and I can either go with what I've got here. Or I can duplicate that brow. I'll duplicate. And I like that. It's nice and dark. Duplicate again. Flip horizontal. And just kind of, oops, kind of manipulate it. And we'll raise it up a little bit. Same thing with the other one. Raise it up a little bit. Okay. And let's see, I think I want to make her look a little bit more nice. And then because these eyebrows are going to be on their own layer, we'll be able to manipulate them. So if we want to make her look, you know, sad or whatnot, we can do that. And we'll also use the liquefy tool when we do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and give her some pretty eyes. I'm going to change the shape. I'm not going to worry so much about what's in there right now. I'm going to go ahead and manipulate it. I'm going to give her, I don't know if I care about what's going on in those eyes so much, but we'll give her some pretty eyes here. Let's see, we'll liquefy. Oh, we got to make sure we're on the right layer. And we'll put the eyebrows together. This layer here with the eyes. And again, I could always just do a duplicate of that and then move them. We have so many options that we can do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and liquefy the eye. I've got my push, I got my size. I'm going to move it down a little bit. And I'm going to bring them up a little bit more. And you see how it distorts what's inside. Yeah, bring that in a little bit more. Give her more of a teardrop shape. We can make this a little bigger. Now another way of manipulating the eye, move this out the way a little bit. Let me reset it. Another way of manipulating the eye is just to go ahead and isolate them. So like if I was already set on how I want the jaw and whatnot to look, I'm going to manipulate this eye like this. I'm going to select a good portion. And then I'm going to go to the liquefy tool. And now the eye is by itself, so I don't have any danger of manipulating anything on the outside. This thing is going to get on my nerves. This is why I like having it on a different screen. Okay. So let's go ahead and now I'm not worried about what's going on inside the eye again, because that is going to, we're going to do other things to it. We're just changing the shape of the eye. And how she's got like it's really round down beneath. I'm going to make hers just a little less round beneath. Maybe give her a bit of a cat eye. And if it's distorting too much, you can always reset it. Once you get your eye the way you want it, okay, that'll do. Okay, once you get your eye the way you want it, you can either copy and paste it, or you could just manipulate the other and try to get it the same way. So I think what we'll do to save time is we'll copy and paste it. So we're on the right layer. Just copy and paste, and what it does is it puts it on its own layer. We're on the layer that it created, and then we'll flip it horizontal. And then we'll see if we can get that about the same size. Now the eye is usually one eye apart. So we have that, and roughly about right there. Okay. And again, don't worry about what's going on inside the eye. There we go. Now, with this kind of weird coloring, again, just take your smudge tool, and for the areas that are around the eye, just go ahead and blend that in. And we'll go ahead and we'll bring that down so it make it easier for it to smudge it in. And you just go from the color that is existing to the color that you want to clean up. Okay, and because I don't really care what's going on inside the eye, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm just going to go ahead and now if you know it's kind of about the same tone, just go ahead and sample the color and switch your brush to the soft brush. And you can either use your soft brush and fill that in, or you can just go ahead and use your fill tool. Oops. Let me see if that'll do it. Yep, it'll do it. And fill it in. There we go. And we can do the same thing over here, because we're going to add all the shadows and whatnot in there as well. You just have a lot of ways of skinning the cat. Okay. Now we can make the eyes about that same tone, like where it's more of a gray white or grayish white. And we can do basically the same thing. We can select. We can add to that selection. Hit the add button, and then we can manipulate those since they're both selected. We can make it a little bit lighter, and we need to deselect. Okay. And sometimes it's good to have it on its own layer. That way we can manipulate it even faster. But I didn't put it on its own layer, so shame on me. Not a problem. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to add some of that gray back in. And then I can soften it. And again, if it's just too much, if it looks too blotchy, bring your opacity down. So let's do that again. I'm going to back it up. And then I'm just going to work that gray in. instead of it just like pouring right on out, drop down the opacity. And then every tap that you make makes it a little bit darker. Oops, I don't want it to go outside the eye. There we go. That sort of thing. Now just imagine this is the eyeball. And again, there's so many ways of skinning the cat here. So many ways that you can make an eye. And then you can take your smudge tool, and even if it's down here to smudge it, it'll make it a gentler gradient. There we go. All right, and then let's see, we could turn our eyeballs back on, and I can manipulate those with a different color. Just like I changed the skin tone, duplicate those eyes, and then I'm really fond of green. Excuse me. Okay. Hit select, and then change the, you can either change the opacity to give it like kind of like a green wash while it's on normal, you know, like a green wash. And what's going to happen, we're going to affect what's going on below. So let's see, which one do we want to use? Got a lot of different effects here. Got a linear burn, got hard light, vivid light, linear light. Linear light looks cute. Ooh, purple's pretty. Yeah, so I like the linear light. And again, this can be just the base. We can change it to a whole nother tone. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring that down. I'm kind of happy with that. Now, even before, even before we merge, I didn't merge. Okay, even before we merge, we can still add more stuff to it. We can even add a whole nother detail. Doing the little lines inside the eye, I like using the hairbrush to make that. Let's see, we'll use fine hairbrush. Done, done, done. Where to go? That's not what I wanted. It's in my outlines. Okay, we're going to use that. And instead of it being normal, we're going to use like maybe, let's do it real quick. We're going to make this a clipping mask of this green here. So it's not going to go outside the green. Let's see. I'll change it to a different green. Let's see. Add will make it brighter. Clear that. Let's see. We will do that. And then we'll make the add brush. Oh, it's the brush that's doing this. Let's see, this is one of my weird brushes. Oh, okay. Now, these curls that you see, I've created those. And if I have an opportunity, I'll go ahead and show you how to create that. But first, let's see if I've got a regular hairbrush here. There we go, fine hairbrush. This one comes with the program. Let me clear this. And I must have drawn on top of the wrong layer. Okay, draw on that layer. This is the add brush. And then, let's see, let's do another one. Clipping mask. And instead of it being the add brush, do the color dodge with a darker green. And we'll move it a little bit. Okay. And we'll put that one beneath this one. You are not showing up. Let's see. That's right. Let's see, not color dodge. It was linear burn. And we'll put it on top. And since I want to be weird, I'm going to take that. I'm going to use my hairbrush again. Let's see, let's try that one. And I'm just going to smudge what's currently here, just to give it like a variance. See it smudging like it should. Oh, it's probably the brush. Let's try a different brush. Try that one. Ooh, too much. Okay. Yeah, that brush does some stuff. It adds to, like, it adds specks and stuff like that to what's there, and I don't think I want it on that. Manipulating brushes. Okay, so there, we're going to use regular soft brush. We'll just kind of take some of the symmetry crap that's already in there. Let's see. And then we'll just kind of soften it around the edges here. And you can make your eyes any way you want. I'm just messing around. I'm going to take some of this stuff off the edges. Now, if you don't want to lose, like, if you don't want to, like, like you're afraid of messing it up, go ahead and hit the layer and go to mask, and then you'll choose your brush. I'm going to use the soft brush. Use the soft brush, and you have the choice of white and black. Black will take away, white will add. And we'll put it back to normal. Keep it small. And I'm just going to kind of clean up the edges a little bit. because I'm going to make it bigger and smaller and whatnot like that. I might even just use the same one. Yeah, that way I keep it symmetrical. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and combine that, make my changes permanent. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this eye, and then I'm just going to shape this one and make it uniform. Freeform it. Just kind of bring the roundness back. And then we'll just kind of put that in the center there. You can make it a little bit bigger. And then we're just going to duplicate that eye. Oops. Move both of them at the same time. And then we'll just kind of freeform it. Which defeats the purpose of, there we go. There we go. Okay, so this next one I'm going to make the eyelids. I'm going to go ahead and merge these guys down. Let's see, the nose is on its own layer. Bring these eyes down. Okay. And then let's go ahead and make the upper lid. Now if you wanted eyes that that you can like make big, make small, you know, type of thing, duplicate the lid. Make sure you're on the right layer. There we go. That way you can close their eyes or open them any way you want. I'm going to copy that. And it should have copied and pasted onto another layer. Okay, there's that. And then I can bring that above the eyes. Oops. And get rid of that clipping mask. And I want this above the eyes. So what that does, let me edit it here, is it just gives me a lid. When I'm ready to do expressions, I can have one lid closed, you know, and still keep the eye basically the same. Or if I wanted to animate it in a different program or whatnot, I'd have that option. And because we just copied the lid, we can make it, you know, the eyes closed and whatnot. Okay, so we just copied the lid on this side. And then we'll copy the lid on that side. There we go. Copy and paste. Alrighty. And then we can bring that again over the eyeball on you. And there we go. And then do that. You can also manipulate it even further. Let's see, you can just not distort. I'm gonna, yeah, I'll leave it up for now. I just can't get to my bar. There we go. Okay, warp, and then that can give it more of a turn if we need to. And again, that can also help us with when we get ready to edit. And do the other eye as well. Okay, make sure I'm on the right layer. There's that. Okay, that's the layer we want. And just give it its own little whatnot. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a eyelash. Let's see. Now I was using this brush for a reason. Let me try that. And I'm going to put these lids on the same layer because easy access, baby. Okay. Let's see, we need, I'll put it above. Let's see. Ooh, no. Okay. Hair layer. There we go. I'm going to use the fine hair brush again. I like a nice bushy eyelid or eyelash. Now, usually when I do lashes, I'll put them on their own layer simply because you can always erase any mistakes that you make. Take the clipping mask off. And then using a C shape, I just create that size there. And it also looks like a shadow at the same time. And then I make it smaller to give it like a little bit more thickness. And then when I'm ready, I will merge it down to the other layer. And again, if I wanted to make eye bags, I would do the same thing. I'm going to see if I can move a little bit faster. I need to make sure I'm on the right layer, right above. Let's go ahead and darken that up a bit. And hurry up and get to these expressions. Okay. And again, you can always duplicate your lash, or just create the eye completely and then just duplicate it. Alright. Okay. So lower lid. Let's go ahead and do kind of the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and merge those layers in a sec. Just make it a little bit thicker. There we go. All right. Now I'm just going to go ahead and make a line over the eyes here. Or if you wanted to do, look at me, giving you all kinds of, you know how like in the eye they have, let me see if I can, so you don't see it so much here. There's a water line, and it's usually like a pinkish tone. You don't really see it so much on her eye, but we can make it here. Let me get rid of that lid. Okay. And I'm going to merge those just to keep them together. Okay, so on layer 1, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the bottom here. And at the same time, you see, I'm going to copy and paste it. And I'm going to move it up just a bit. Let's see, we'll use uniform. Okay, I wonder if I can duplicate that. No, I don't want to duplicate it. Okay, so we got the water line there. And then the other one, get back on that layer. And if you're doing like a more realistic look, I guess, that's what this would be for. And we'll just copy and paste that too. So we have two. So this would be like where the eyelashes will go. We just bring that here, bring it over a little bit, or just leave it as it is. Okay, so with both of those, we can mess with those. And I want to make it a little bit whiter. Let me see, I'm going to grab one of the highlighter colors. There we go. I'm going to take the clipping mask off. I'll bring that mid-tone back. Now with the mid-tone over the lids, it kind of gives you, it shows you where the eyelid is. We can either keep the mid-tone over it. Let me go back up. Or we can keep the mid-tone, and then when we're ready, we can move it down, and we can make the eyelid separate if we need to keep it separate. Okay, anyway, back to the bottom lies. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make make it thin, my brush a little thin, and then I'm going to just kind of do the outward part, and that gives you the lower lid, and just kind of keep it not as uniform, because depending on how controlled you are, and you can just bring the eyeliner in. And again, this keeping everything on its own layer works if you either want to animate it later, or again with doing expressions. It really won't matter too much because we can always cut and paste what we want to do. We can have the established picture, and then we can just, like, if we want to make her look saucy or whatnot. Anyway, I digress. Okay, so we've got that going on. I like adding a nose to my people without, if you look at what we start with, let me see, we'll turn that off. We'll merge these together. There we go. When you look at what we start with many moons ago, and then you can see where we are so far. No! Almost lost everything. That would have sucked. Okay. And the ear should be beneath. Okay, so they don't have a nose when they have the kind of like the anime indent type of thing. I like to add nostrils and nose and things like that to my characters. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Turn that back off. We'll do the clipping mask on the mid-tone in a bit. Okay, we got our lips, so let's bring our nose back. And depending on what you're interested in, how you want your characters to look, theoretically, everything that you do to the front, you do at the same time to the side views and whatnot like that. But just so we can just get some expressions going, let's go ahead and push on. We just have the nose and the lips to finish. And this is basically how I would manipulate a character coming out of EasyPoser. You can make these images your own, and you see the amount of time that it's taking to make these. It just kind of shows that it's not like you're just using what they have and going with it. You're actually putting your own stamp on things. It's not that much more of a time saver than it would be if you were doing it yourself and stuff. So okay, nose. Usually I like to work with multiple colors. I want to get to her skin tone real quick too. That way I can make the nose pop out. I'm going to use one of the browns that are already here, Just going to sample that color. I'm going to use the outline. The nose is usually not very sharp. It's, you think of the nose more of a bunch of shadows. There we go. We'll get her nostrils. So I kind of do it with, if I'm facing forward, you got to remember that there's going to be a ball at the tip of the nose, and that's where usually your highlights are. So let's go ahead and, right now I put the nose on the wrong layer. It's okay. It's all going to merge together anyway, eventually. Let's go ahead and add a highlight. I'm going to use one of these tones, the sample, and then I'm going to just go up from there. And then in our source image, she had one at the top there, and the nose has, when it bends, there's a whole bunch of light stuff that goes along with all this. When you bend away from the light, usually there is a slight light above the nostril. Think of it goes from light to dark, light to dark. Wherever there's a dark, there's going to be a corresponding light. It may not be super bright, it may not be super big, but there's usually a corresponding light. Like this is the shadow. There'll be a light somewhere coming. Again, on the nose, there'll be a light somewhere coming. Where there's a highlight, there'll be a corresponding dark. So let me go ahead and do our tones. As you move away from the light, we're going to go use this tone. It's really cute. And we'll just kind of shape the nose. Does she have a bulbous nose? Does she have a tiny nose? Who knows? And we'll have a little bit of an indent here. And then it goes to the light again. I'm going to take a little bit of that, just drop the opacity down a little bit, just to give her a little bit of a light there. Okay, we're going to move up this way. It's going to be a little dark. We'll take a little bit of this tone, and we'll just kind of bring it up a little bit. Just to kind of give it its shape. And then we'll use a little bit of that blushy tone. Just to make it all kind of fit together. Now the nose is like cartoonishly small, and we can make it bigger or we can make it smaller. The eyes are like cartoonishly big too. Not as big as these, but you can always adjust that. I'm making this like a slightly older character. Okay, now I did with the lips. I think I'll go. I like her lip tone. I need to stop, but I love her lips. Whoops. Helps to be on the right layer. Okay. Now, for demonstration purposes, I don't want to merge everything just yet. So I'll just merge just a little bit. Let's see. I'll keep the eyes on their own layer. I'm going to I'll leave the mid-tone where it is. But if I do that, then it kind of bleeds out the sides. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the mid-tone down. It's going to make the eyelids pop out a little bit more, but that's okay. I'm going to make a clipping mask of that, and I'm just going to go ahead and merge that. So you can get as hyper-realistic or as, cartoony as you want. Let's see, for the eyelids, so they don't look too weird. I'm going to go ahead and soften them and blend them. so they're not so weird and out of place. I'm using the blending, I forget what it's called, smudge brush. The smudge brush to do this. Even though they're not on the same layer, what the smudge brush does is it just kind of moves pixels around, so it just kind of blends in. So now we've got that blending there. Let's see, back onto this layer, and then we'll play with the lips. And usually, what I forgot to finish my statement is I like to have 3 colors. I like to have a highlight, a shadow, and a base tone on virtually everything I do. So for the lips, sometimes you have about 3 tones. You'll have the upper tone here, and just imagine the lips are facing away from the light, and that's why there's always like a little rim light above the lips. Let's see, like right here. I'm going to go ahead and take this tone here, and you can see it kind of, you don't see it so much on this, but in real life there's usually a little lip above the lip. If you can imagine that. And then this becomes shadow. The darker brown part is more of like in a shadow. Her lips are pouty, and that's where you have the bright, and then you have the dark, and then you have the bright, again. Just imagine that wherever there is something dark, there's going to be something light. So with our lips here, now I wanted her lips to like be brown, but I really like that pink, that reddish tone. So I'm going to snag some of it. Here's the brightest part of it, the lightest part. And let's see, I'm gonna make a clipping mask by creating a new layer, hitting clipping mask, and what it's going to do is only going to affect those lips. So I'm going to add that tone at the top of the lips, and then let's see, we'll have a little darker tone. Let's do the whole thing here. We'll have a darker tone of that. We'll just come straight on down. And I'm going to put that about like right here near the corners. And then wherever is dark, there'll be a corresponding light. So I'm going to take that color again. Make it a little bit brighter. And then I'm going to make it a little brighter right before you get to the lip line. Just a little. As a matter of fact, we can probably use like the color dodge just to kind of give it a little bit of a glow. And then what I'm going to do is let me blend it a little bit so that you don't really see where the dark and the light meet. Am I on the right layer? I am. Okay, I'm smudging it. I'm going to use a little bit more of this lighter tone. And sometimes it's better to just eyeball it. Because it may not come out the way that you think it will. So I've just made it a little bit brighter. And I usually do lips in layers. That way you can have your bright layer, you can have your dark layer, then you can blend them if you want. And then you can also do a layer effect, which is what I'm going to do. bring a little bit more of that orangey tone right here. And I'm going to blend that a little bit. Now another trick that you can use to blend is add a tone like that. Add another tone, your dark tone. I'll use a brown. And it works pretty good when you're on your own, on a different layer. You go to adjustments, and then you can go to Gaussian blur, and then you just hit it just a smidge, and it'll do like your work for you. So you got that going on. And then, you know, just to adjust it, you can always add another layer. And just to stay on that, we'll do a clipping mask. Give it the add effect, layer effect. And now add works with light colors, white colors, and it just makes them pop. So like on our girl down here, she's got like a little highlight there, maybe a little bit of a highlight there, and it just kind of, the light is hitting it just so much, like really pops it. And then we can lighten up a few areas. Again, let's bring down the opacity here. And then we can smudge it a bit. And it just makes her lips look a little bit more wet. Okay, so we got that going on. Let me smooth it all out. So I'll go ahead and hit that there. And I'm just going to smooth out her lips a bit. And we're going to distort the crap out of these lips too when we make her smile. Okay, so in the bottom lip, she's got, the lips come outwards, so there will be a shadow. Oops, that's on the add layer. The add layer won't let you do shadows. So let me go ahead and bring that in. I'm going to go ahead and erase part of this here. But instead of just erasing, I'm going to do a mask. So I can either erase it completely, or I can make it less than it was and still keep it. Get rid of some of it. There we go. And I can always bring it back if I want. Okay, so with here, we'll go ahead and hit this, make this a clipping mask. Whoops, not a clipping mask, sorry. A clipping mask above it. Okay. And what we'll do is the colors that are going above it, you have your shadow. So let's go ahead and give it like a bit of a pink tone, just a bit. We have it, the opacity down, so we can control how much pink we want. Just a hint of pink. And then we'll go into, let's see, a little bit darker. And then we'll go into like our color here. Make sure I'm not on any add layers. Okay, there we go. And then we'll just kind of give it the little bumps here. And then we'll need to kind of blend it a little bit. So I'm going to hit this, and then I'm going to just kind of smudge it a bit. I'm going to bring the smudge power back up a little bit. And then I'm going to end up adding a shadow right underneath here. Just soften it up a bit. Okay. For the shadow, I'm going to go ahead and put that underneath. I'm going to sample a little bit of that tone there. And we have it down here for our opacity. That way we can build it up. And we can also give it another tone. So we just kind of soften it a little bit. There we go. And also we can darken it just a little bit. And then the color that is left over will be skin. And we got our shadow here. Okay. And you can always add more highlights and whatnot to it. I'm going to merge my mask to get rid of that bottom part, or soften that bottom part. Alright, so, let's do a quickie hairstyle. Oh, let me add a couple highlights, just because we added a little highlight here. And then we'll move on to the smile, and on to the smile. Okay, using your add layer, we'll go ahead and do add. Add will give you those, that bright tone. And we'll just give her that softness. And then we'll add like a darker tone above it for that shadow. So here we go. Take that clipping mask off. We'll just go ahead and add that to the lips. And a really good, like if you need some like hard shadows, if everything here looks like it's been just like everything has been like crazy airbrushed, and you need some like hard tones, harder shadows, I've learned this through White Manga, creator of Apple Black, when he does his shadows, and I love doing this. Okay, so I'll take like my darker brown. He usually uses a black or a blue, and I'm going to turn this layer to a linear burn layer, and then I'm going to knock it down to about 15 or 20, and then I can add shadows, harder shadows. So if I didn't like how the bottom lip shadow was going, using my freehand tool, I can define it more by doing that, and then I've got like a harder shadow, and then I can soften it when I'm ready. So that makes her lips look even more poutier. And if it's too dark, you just go ahead and drop the opacity a little further. Again, with the nose, if we needed more shadows on that same layer, you can go ahead and make a shadow. Like, let's see. Because this layer is so low, this layer would work better near the top. But basically, it can give me more shadows. I'm going to bring it up more so it can cover more. And it can be really subtle. I just want to make sure I got it. Am I at the top? I should be at the top. Okay. Nope. Back to the top. And then we just make it really subtle. So like if the light was coming down on her face, you know, and it just gives you that variances of light. So I'm going to soften it just a bit. And I use that a lot, like here in the eyes, to make the eye, I forget what this area is called, make this a little bit deeper. If I need a chin light or darkness there, I can do that. You know, it just adds a little bit more depth to your picture. Okay. And then you can always use the Gaussian blur and just kind of soften that too if you need to. Okay. All right. All right, so let's get to some expressions. That's what the whole meat of this was about. I'm going to go ahead and do I want to? You know what? I'm gonna merge my layers against my better judgment. Let's see. Is that getting everybody? Okay. I'm gonna knock everybody down. Let's see. Let's start here. And then we'll use the same things that I had done earlier. Okay, so just imagine that you have one full image just like this. I'm going to make a duplicate of her. Oh, we don't need this anymore. This was just, you know, an idea. But you see, I'll show you where we came from. I'm going to get rid of that. It was under reference. We'll just turn that off and whoop, it goes away. All right. So we have our face. I could do some hair. We did everything else. Let's see. Oh, how to make a brush. Okay. Let's make our own little brush really quick. It's not that hard. Her lips are a little warped, but how do you fix that? We'll use the liquify tool, make it small, or we can isolate, and then we can just kind of plump it up just a smidge. Oh, I sat through one video where this lady was like, oh my gosh, here's one of the things that will just make a difference between yours and blah 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 images, and she ranted she raved about this one particular thing, and she wouldn't, it's like, come on woman. And I guess to make the video last longer, but what it was to basically sharpen. So you can hit sharpen and it brings up a little bit more of clarity to your picture. So it just like kind of makes it pop more. But what it also does is it makes some of your pixels pop out too. You see all that right there on the edge? Too much sharpen will do that. And it's kind of hard to see. So let's see. It doesn't look like much right now, but it's like if you do, here's before, after, okay, that's sharpened, that's unsharpened. So it just kind of cleans it up. I don't want to say cleans it up. It just makes it a little bit more pronounced. You know, it makes your edges a lot more pronounced. So that's another little thing. I can't remember her name. I came across her I don't know. But anyway, so we got that. Let's make that expression. Oh, I was going to do the hair. That's right. There's a lot of videos that I came across where they want you to buy the hair, and out of necessity, I needed, you know, because I was doing a comic, and I needed to do all kinds of textures, and I needed different hair and stuff like that. So what I did is I started creating my own brushes. There's one brush here, like say, because none of these, basically this program only comes with, what is that called? The fine hair brush and a brush that's the equivalent of a fur brush. And let's see, I created a 4C curly hair brush. Sometimes you can just look at some brushes and you can emulate them. And what I did is I took a brush that already existed, something like that's like a chain, and to make a like hairbrush that's kind of like a fishtail. It's not perfect. What I usually do is I go ahead and open up another, let's see, I go back to my gallery, just create another screen. It doesn't matter what you use. I'm going to use the square one. And let's see, we want to make maybe a 4C hairbrush. Now, what that is like it's super tight curly hair. Dread brushes, like this one right here, that would give me like a dreadlock. What I did is I basically took the fine hair brush and made strands. Let me see what I did with it. Let's see, we'll say fine hair brush, and just made strands. Change this to black. Well, not black. Change the background color. No, actually, we'll turn off the background color. Change this to white. This is the fastest way I've found to make brushes. And say I wanted to make a tight curly hair. Make this big, and just, this could be like another dreadlock brush. You just make a smudge like this, we'll make it bigger, so you have a smudge like this. Copy that, go into your brushes. You can create a brush, or you can use one that is already like it's already been created. So like the fine hair brush, or anything that would act like how your brush is going, you want your brush to act. So let me see, under something that's like a texture, something that came with the program that would give you like a line brush or something like that. So like you could take your soft brush, let's see, yeah, we'll take our soft brush, we'll just duplicate it, go into it by clicking on it, go into the shape, you edit the shape, import, and then paste, and then go to done, and here is our brush. If we left it alone, this is how it would look. We change the stroke path by changing the spacing. You can either make it bigger, smaller, or more far apart. And that's what it would look like. So you have a, you have your own new brush. And so it's if you wanted to do the same thing, you go cancel and make kind of like a, what is it called? A braid. Let me go ahead and clear this. You just make one part of it. We'll need some strands here. Oh, here's another way of doing it. Find a braid, and you only need a smidgen of it. You don't need like the whole braid. You just need to sample a part of it. So let's like type in braid texture or something like that. Okay. Okay, and go. And we can, let's see, types. And we're going to sample one of the braids here. Do images. And what I'm looking for is like a shape of a braid. Da, 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 da. Let's see, we'll just look at these. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a quick screen capture. There we go. We're here. Okay, since I captured it, I have to import it. File, import, insert photo. There we go. Alright, so how about that twist? Yeah, we'll do that twist. So let's go ahead and make that bigger. And we only need one of them, really. One or two of them. So I'll go do this. I'm going to drop the opacity. And then with the white, I'm going to just go ahead and create one big fat braid here, or twist here. And I could make it into a plait, but it's easier just to go ahead and create this portion right here. And you know what? While I'm BSing, let's do this. We're going to grab this, copy and paste it. We'll get rid of that. We'll make this bigger. I can't guarantee how this is going to turn out, but we'll fix it. Let's see. We're going to desaturate it. Not that it matters, because the program will desaturate it anyway. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make it, let's see, we're going to use our fine hair brush. Oops, wrong one. There we go. There's our fine hair brush. Select that. And then we're just going to grab some of this. And then we'll just kind of emulate what we see here. And then we'll use different degrees of gray. Now, the white is the part that's going to be colored. So like if you chose a different tone, like say you chose red or green, it'll be the part that comes out green. And then the other part will either be empty or black. So it's doing different degrees here. Okay, so there's our little twist. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to go into our brushes. I'm going to grab a brush that's similar to what I want. So your soft brush will work just fine. We'll go ahead and, I believe this is the one that I was using. And I'm going to edit the shape. I'm not doing anything else, just editing the shape. So I'm going to edit, import, paste. Okay, and then hit done. Okay, and this is what it gives us, because the brush is really close. So we just change and get it to where we want it. So now we have a twist. Let's see. But I want to offset it just a bit. Let me see if there's a way to offset. Go to shape. There we go. So when we do it, it looks more like a dread. Let's see. We can have it follow the stroke, so it'll be that shape and it'll follow the stroke, which is not a bad thing. It's not too bad. Let's see. We can, let me clear that. So drawing pad. Let's see if we. Right now it's set to randomize. Let's see. It's set to follow the stroke. If we scatter it, it'll just go all over the place. Just too random. We don't want it to scatter. Let's see. Count will make extras pop up. Let's see. How about flip? Okay, so this will just like flip every now and then. We don't want that. Let's see. I want to see if I can make it. Right now it's going to follow the brush. Let's see, follow the stroke. Let's see. I wonder, can I make it? See, this is how it's going to rotate. You can also mess with it. You can edit it, and then you can twist it, or turn it rather, and see what it does. That's kind of different. Okay, let's try something else. Let's make it more of a braid by duplicating it. So let's go to cancel. We'll take that one, duplicate, and we'll just kind of bring this down a little bit. And what we're going to do is have this image fit into each other. So let's do that. Copy. Go to one of your brushes that are doing what you kind of want it to do. Which was our soft brush 2. That's what it was. Okay. And then go to edit, import, paste, go to done, and then we're going to edit the stroke path, because right now it's all like one piece. Okay. Now we need it to come together a little bit more. And maybe, let's see, go back to shape, edit, and we'll just turn it. Let's see what it does. Okay, that's pretty close. I wonder, let's follow the stroke. Oh, we need it back the other way. So we'll edit again. Can't remember if it was this. Oh. Let's turn it till I got it. There we go. And so we'll edit the stroke path so it gives it a little bit more space. can make it a little darker. It follows the stroke. Okay. And let's give it a name. I believe it's about this brush. Call it, I don't know, random braid. And you can do this with any, you can make your own hair. You don't have to buy it from anybody. I hate to cut anybody off by doing that, but let's see. But it is what it is. It's like, the more you know. Okay, so let's go ahead and, for giggles, let's give her hair our random braid. And you can make it smaller. Too small. I like the big here. And you could just play with the settings to get it to where you want it. And clear that. And clipping mask it. And we can do an add. And we'll give it a different color green. But yeah. So anyway, one of the things I like to do is create the base of the hair, like all of that, and then come back and do the add part. Alrighty, yeah, and that's affecting that. But anyway, that's how you can make your own braids and whatnot like that. You just make a shape, and then take a brush that's already existing, and then just manipulate the spacing. You can almost do the same thing with what's the word? Forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, if you're doing textures, you can pretty much kind of get away with doing it the same as well. So anyway, that's the start. And then you can offset, not offset, but you can manipulate the existing brushes to make them do, more things that you want them to do, things like that. Anyway, I digress. We're here to do expressions, so I'm going to merge that together, liquefy it a little bit so I can, how to do that here. Liquefy it a bit. But yeah, once you start making them, it's just like this guy. Once you figure out the trick, it's just like grabbing a little something and then just making it your own. Editing brushes that you've got already. I just got to cover up that faux head. You can make your own little stamps instead of it like following. Anyway, trying to make baby hairs. It doesn't matter. Anyway, okay. Again, I'm going to duplicate. I'm just going to go ahead and keep that. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the head here. I'm going to use the rectangle tool. How is it, like 3 hours later, 4 hours later? Up, clear. Take the fill off. rectangle tool. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, one more time. Rectangle tool, and then copy and paste. What that's going to do is give me a head in a whole nother area. I'm going to hide the bodies, and I'm going to just duplicate. But I hope that this video kind of helps a bit to help you like skin the cat. You know, you've got a lot of potential to do a lot of things using this program, Procreate and whatnot. Okay, so, oh god, the eyes look weird. But anyway, we're going to make her smile. One of the ways that I make a character smile, especially if the layers are already merged like they are, is, let me see, make sure I'm on the right one. Okay. I'm going to make this one smile. Well, actually, let's keep one that's normal. Okay. There we go. This one's going to be the one that's going to smile. Are you sure, Kim? Are you sure? Look at that, hair's all wonky. But yeah, that's just the down and dirty on how you can create your own brushes. And then you can mix your brushes and whatnot like that. Alright. It's down and dirty, but, you know, the more you play with it, the better it'll get. Now, to make this chick smile, it doesn't hurt to have a picture of somebody smiling. If you want to try to stay accurate as possible. So, dun, 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 I'm going to find a picture of someone in this position smiling. I'll share my screen here. I like going to Pinterest, and I only do this because I want to make sure that, like, if I'm doing a photorealistic person smiling, I want to try to capture as much as I can to make it look more authentic. Let's see. Now I can give her the anime smile. I think I've got, let's see, let's see, go to my folks. And do I have a happy person? That's cute. Let's see, how about the cute kids to draw? Smiling. Let's see if we find somebody smiling like super big. It's pretty close. Oh, that's a cute smile. Now, there's more to a smile. Oh, we should just find somebody doing expressions, and then we can emulate that. Yeah, let's do that. EXPRESSION. That spells expression. Aha. Okay, so we can take this one, or, ooh, I like that one. Which one? Let's get bewitched with it. Okay, alright. I'm going to push this to the side. I'm going to do, my daughter makes this expression a lot. This one looks, I like this one. I like that one too. Now, we're only doing it from the front, but you have to think in terms of round when you do this. So let's start at the top here. We're going to go for this one right here where it's like looking at you wide-eyed, big-mouthed. Okay. Now, one of the things that I would do is I would use the selection tool, freehand selection tool, and we'll start with the eyes, and we'll start with the eyebrows. We'll take these guys and we're going to put them on their own layer. Or we'll just move them up from where they are. So we'll just move them up. Don't worry about the spaces that we've created. We're going to fill that in. Okay, so we've got that up, or I think it might be better to put them on their own layer. That way we don't have to worry so much. So let me reset. And then we're going to just go ahead and grab both. Yeah, we'll do them separate. Okay. So we'll put this one on its own layer, and leave a little skin, you know, like around it, so that you can sample and smudge to get us where we want. So we're going to put this one on its own layer, copy and paste. So now there's two versions of that. And we'll do the same thing with this one over here. Get back on that layer. And this is kind of what we did earlier. Copy and paste. And then we'll just select both of these and we'll raise them up. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and mess with the eyes. Or actually, we can manipulate the eyebrows that we just messed with. I'm going to put them both on the same layer. That way I can manipulate them at the same time. Actually, her eyebrows are not curling or curving in that first picture. They're just pretty much up. So I won't manipulate them. However, I will white out what's currently there. And this is kind of like where we started from. So I'm going to go ahead and turn those guys off. And I'm just going to smudge out what's currently here. Or what I could do is just take like a measure of what's above it and then do the same thing, which is basically right above where the eyebrows are. Just make a selection. Or below it, whichever. Make a copy. And then move that copy or make it bigger. So rather than do it uniform, let's do freeform. We'll just kind of bring it down over what we currently have. We can warp it. And then we can just blend it. Take your smudge brush, you're on a soft brush, and then just kind of, you can merge it, or we can wait a bit. You smudge the edges and just go downwards or upwards from the colors that you want it to be. To the colors that, just to get it to smudge, and then bring it together. And you can make your brush a bigger or smaller to make it work for you. And that's just a quickie way to, get rid of things. Okay, so this is going to be the expression of surprise or happiness or shock or whatever that is. Okay, I'm on the eyebrow layer, and I want to raise those brows up just a bit using the liquify tool. I'm going to have it be a good size, and I'm just going to bring it down a little bit to 20 and just bring those eyebrows up. And then I'm going to smudge around the outside of it so that they'll blend in with what's around it. Now keep in mind that skin is being pulled at the same time. Whoops. These things are moving. muscles are pulling things. Okay. Alright, so we're going to make a copy of the eyes. Oh, let's blend that in. Bring that down. And another thing you can do is once you've got things on its own layer, you can always kind of leave them and then you can manipulate them again. You just copy everything again and you can manipulate them. But we're going to do it all from scratch as if we are not that, you know, doing that. Okay, so we got that. We should be on the original layer. Just make your selection and leave enough skin. We're going to copy and paste and then back again to the original, and we're just taking we're going to make the eyeballs, you know, wide like the picture. So we're going to copy and paste. That gives us two lids on their own layer. I'm going to select them both, and then I'm just going to raise them up. Use the uniform and just kind of raise them up. And then on our original layer, and we can probably hide these so it doesn't get too distracting. Well, actually, let's keep them there so that we know how far we need to go. Okay, we're on our original layer, and we're going to kind of do the same thing. We're going to we have choices here. We can either select the eyeball and like kind of do something like this. We're back on the original layer and take out the mask. We're on the original layer, and we're going to select part of the eyeball, and we can copy and paste. It's on its own layer, and we're going to flip it vertically, and that'll give us like that wide eye or a completed eyeball. And you can edit it any way you want, and that's on its own layer. So we can white out, or we can sample like a portion of it and cover, or we could take our blend tool or smudge tool and we just kind of smudge. Oops, cancel. Oh, also, yeah, we'll just take our smudge tool. We're on the original layer and smudge the white away. Smudge some of this, and then we can always try to edit. There we go. Our top there. Just bring it all the way around. And that should give us a very big, wide-eyed expression. Okay. I'm going to leave a little bit in that corner there for like a tear duct. Okay. And then we can bring this guy back, and that shows me a little bit more of what we need to fix. So what I can do is I can, let's see, we've already got, let's see, oh, that's the other side. There's that side. And we can smudge a little bit and then use our brush. So you've got to be on the right layer. This layer. Yeah. There we go. Or rather, I'm going to bring some of it back. And then I'm going to liquefy that eyelid to make it rounder. Oops, careful. Don't want it to distort too much. Reset. Make sure you have it a good size, but not too much. There we go. And that brings it around. There we go. And if you want, you can always just duplicate that eye and paste it on the other side to get little pieces. Let's do that. And basically what it does is it just moves the lid around. If you want to get like a really anime type, they like to make it tiny eyeballs, you know, to just emphasize that it's like, whoa, you know. So you have that option. And just remember what layer that was on. I think that was the original layer there. And don't forget your shadows and whatnot like that. Because the eye is bigger now, you may want to throw more white in there, or you could just make the eye smaller. Throw some highlight around there. Even you could put like highlights on there, you know, that sort of thing. Same thing, like I can take that eye and just duplicate it onto the other side, or we can just do exactly what we did before. On the original layer. Yeah, we can even take a bit more of the white, copy and paste. We're going to flip it vertically, and then see if we can line it up a bit. And then do the same thing, is basically get back on that layer. Using the smudge tool, or you can sample whatever colors are there and use your brush and paint over it, whichever's faster for you. Okay, and then on the eye that we had duplicated, whoops, real close. I mean, it's not perfect, but that's when you would spend time to fix it. Sample your colors. And since things are on their own layer, you can get away with, you know, making it bigger or smaller. Same thing with this lid. I believe this is the lid for that. Yep. We can liquefy that lid and make it even bigger. We can push it up higher. I'm going to make it a little bit higher. So we've got that sort of action going. Okay, so how do we make her with a big mouth like that? But pretty much it's the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and merge those eyes together. But then we'll end up having to do it again on another image, which is good practice. Okay, so. And you would save these different instances of faces for when you are, you know, you need expressions for your character. Now, we're on the original layer, and I'm going to open her mouth to where it's like crazy wide. And this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to duplicate the bottom jaw, the lips, all the way down to the bottom jaw. So I'm going to take all of, I'm going to take all of this, and I'm going to copy it and put it on its own layer. Alright, it's on its own layer. Then I'm going to bring it down. Let's see. Now I have a couple choices on how I can bring it down. I can bring it down all the way here. We want to make it as big and as wide as possible, but I still want the jaw to connect to the head. So realistically, when it moves, let's use freeform tool. We can bring that in there, bring that there, and we'll just bring it low. And we can always smooth it out to where they connect again. And we can also use liquify to get us to meet where we need to. Now looking at her chin, it widens a bit and then it comes up. Okay, and we're going to open that up a little bit more because we want to see that mouth. Okay, so now we've got like 2 lips, 3 lips while I'm BSing. Okay, we're going to take the top lip and we're going to spread that out too. We can duplicate it, or we can just, spread it. Let's see, let's do this. Now we have a choice. We can do it on its own layer. That way if we make a mistake, we can go back, or we can just take a chance and just undo whatever we need to. We know that when we have teeth, and let's go ahead and we'll add some teeth here. Her mouth is going to, we'll leave her mouth about, we'll bring it down a little bit. Let's see, we'll go back to the original layer. We're going to use the liquify tool. We're going to bring it down just a smidge. And we might even pop her nose up a bit, just a smidge. That's my new word, just a smidge. Okay, so let's go ahead in between the jaw layer and the original layer, add a layer, and we're going to make teeth. We'll keep it simple by just making a rectangle, and we'll just make it white and fill. Okay, now these teeth are going to go beneath the upper layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the original layer. We'll hide our teeth for the moment. And we're going to duplicate the top layer. We're going to duplicate this, or sorry, go to the freehand tool, and we're going to just duplicate or put this on its own layer. Let's do it on its own layer. So copy and paste. So now it's on its own layer. Now when we add our teeth, let's see, we'll put this above the teeth. We can show our teeth here. This mouth is going to kind of wrap a bit around our teeth. Just keep in mind that they are round. So I'm going to bend our teeth a bit. We get on the teeth layer. Let's see. So we have that there. And we'll just kind of round it off a little bit. Sometimes it's really good to have a good source image in order to do something like this. Okay. I'm going to bring this above, and then we're going to take our liquify tool and we're going to just grab the corner, and we're going to have the corners kind of meet. Same thing with the bottom. And you just kind of mess with it until you get them into the shape that you need them to be in. Your lips will thin out. Okay. And you can get even more extreme. Your nose will widen as well. That's why it's really good to have source images. Just to notice different things. Raise it up a bit. She almost looks like a marionette, and in order to fix that, we just go ahead and blend it with the colors that we have there. And if it's a big wide smile, we can just keep messing with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's see, at this point I usually just merge the layers and then work from there. You're going to have teeth on the bottom. You can always duplicate that, put that down here, make it a little bit bigger, and then we can always use the liquify tool on that. But again, you cannot, in EasyPoser, give yourself expressions. No expressions for you. You just bring that around. You can add your shadows and whatnot. And if you're really clever, you can use the bottom lip as a, as your tongue. Let's see if we can try that. We're just going ahead and kind of merge that together. We'll throw a shadow in there. We need like a brown. And just kind of blend it a bit. We'll bring the white teeth down a little bit more. I mean, this is really down and dirty, but like I said, your best friend is going to be the liquify tool and the selection, putting things on different layers. Oops. And we'll just smooth out her bottom lip. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge my layers together. That way, when I do my smudging and whatnot, I can, I don't have to keep jumping from layer to layer. So even though the source image is not exactly the same as the image that I have, and I'm using some of the shadow because deep inside your mouth it's, you know, shadow. You can still use it to manipulate the character that you're working on. So we've got that image, I'm sorry that I took so long making the face, but just wanted to show you that you can make your faces from EasyPoser. You know, once you figure out what you want, your source images, if you need them. You know, and this is really good for, you know, a source image can help you with your highlights. You know, what's being lit up. Also, when you look at the eyes of the source image, they are covering, not only are your eyes wide, but they're also covering part of the bottom. So we can go back to what we'll see. We should be on the original image. Just little things like that. And I'm going to put this on its own layer, copy and paste, and I'm just going to move it up. So not only does she still have that same expression, and we'll warp it a bit, we've got tools, just need to know when to use them. And have it touch a little bit. And it could be like eye bags. There we go, and you can just zoom in. And then you can merge. Or you can even, well, before I merge, make sure, I'm going to go ahead and liquefy, get the pixels right where I need them. With her, up a lot. There we go. And then on the original layer, I'm just going to go ahead and smudge out the dark colors there. Which also makes a really nice eye bag shadow. And you can always come back around with your brush and edit your eyelashes. You can have it be as wild as you need it to be. We'll just merge that, and then just going to just bring that together. Now the program does save you a bit of time. It saves you a bit of time, I have to admit. But it's also in knowing what you need, what you want, what you want to accomplish. Okay, so that's one expression. And knowing what can help you make your expressions, you know, having a source image really helps, or an idea, instead of like working from a blank canvas with absolutely no clue of what you want to do. So, oops. And then basically I would just either, to save time, I would duplicate the eye and make it do what I wanted to do. So, if you need to, or if you want to, you can always, you know, just copy and paste, flip horizontal, put it back on uniform, and just kind of get it in the same area as the other eye was. You can even make it what's the word, transparent, so you can match them and then make it visible again. And then you just go through the motions of tweaking it so that it fits the picture. Oh, my battery's low. Okay, so I apologize, I haven't gotten to the other expressions. I have to charge up my battery. But for those who are just joining, I will do a quick replay so you can see how we got to where we are while this thing is charging. Okay. But so we went from that to that, and let's go ahead and do a quick replay. And video, time-lapse replay. Okay, so we started off here with EasyPose. We went ahead and we colored the body. And here I am just kind of stylizing one of the bodies. And when you do make your character portraits and whatnot, you want to do all the sides at once. So once you edit one eye on, or once you edit a portion of one, edit all of them. Make that way it doesn't feel as tedious to fix, because you can do all this wonderful stuff to the one face and totally forget how you got to this point. So if you are doing this sort of thing, do all the eyes at once, do all the lips at once, do all the head shapes at once. So as soon as you make your eyes, if you can duplicate your eye and paste it onto the other shape, all the better. It's all about trying to get it done, especially if you're doing multiple people and trying to get everybody in your cast done at once. That way they all have the same cohesive look about them. But yeah, a lot of the work here has been done right here. We haven't done anything to the bodies. And if you want, I can do more expressions now that we have a face, or I can do it straight off of the EasyPose people. But I just kind of gave you some ideas on how you can stylize your character to make it look like something that you would like. And it's funny that this replay just whipped out all that work in all this seconds. So here we are with the, oops, I'm sorry, I just went backwards. Oh, my poor pin is charging. It's still editing the face. We finally got to the lips portion. Okay, we made our own brush. Okay, and then here's where we are editing the expressions. You want to put things on their own layer, that way other things don't get affected. You can do mouth movements. You don't always have to have a source image, but it kind of helps you to keep things straight. You know, the mouth, the nose comes up a little bit, the mouth widens a bit, and depending on how surprised or shocked this person is, how realistic that you want to be. And once you have this, once you have like a whole set of expressions, or as you're even doing your stories and whatnot, as you're doing all that, you can have a whole set of things to come back to as you need them. You know, so this next one here could be just a simple smile or just the mouth open. I can close her eyes if I wanted to really quick. Let's see how my pen is doing here. It's got a little bit more juice, but I'm almost out of that. But yeah, it's great to be back. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I didn't get any feedback to see if anybody could hear me. But if you happen to stumble across this and you see it, if you have any questions, let me know. You know, if you want to make new brushes, I could try to guide you into how to make your own braid brushes, your own texture brushes. And you know, the key to doing a whole bunch of different expressions is to go ahead and put everything on its own layer. That way you can manipulate them, and it won't take as long. So for like this face right here, oh yeah, I was going to finish up this eye here because it's just kind of poking out. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a mask. And it will help me to get rid of stuff without, you know, messing up too much. Let's see. There we go. And then I can just kind of blend it all together after that. Alrighty. Well, for those of you who stayed with me or were able to use this, I hope this was a big help. This hair is bothering me. It's smudged on me. But yeah, let me see. We used that tone. I'm going to use this tone, and I'm going to make that, use that brush. But yeah, basically, once you have an idea of what your brushes look like this one right here, this one here is kind of like a, what kind of brush is this? A fishtail kind of brush, like a lazy fishtail. Once you know the shape, you can make this brush. So it's basically like a heart shape fit into each other. Once you make that shape and you bring it in, just edit the spacing and you'll be able to see it by doing that. And you can make it like as intricate as you want. If you need like beads or something like that, look at some of your other brushes, like your soft brush, this brush by itself, or even, let's see, like this untitled brush. It's just a brush that was made at random. You just hit the plus sign, go into that, go to shape, it's a circle, right? Go to the stroke path and decrease or increase the spacing. Play with some of your brushes like that, and you can make other things out of it. This could be a nice pearl brush. You know, you could probably even make teeth out of it, you know, sort of thing. You just do it, and let me see. Bum bum bum. Let's put it on. We're done with that. We can bring that down. Oops. Merge. Let's see how I would make teeth out of this. Put it on its own layer. Whoop, wrong color. Let's grab that color. And we can even go a little bit gray. There we go. That might be too gray. Let's see. Okay, so you got that going on there. Oh, while I'm BSing, turn this into pink. So that'll be your gums. And it'll be like a grayish pink or so. Let's see. I wonder. No. I can do this. Okay. and then you can edit the color as you will. And then on another layer, throw those white teeth in there. Let's see, just bring it there, and then you can warp it. Distort it. And you can even add more. We can do the canine. Just, whoops. Like that. And it's good to have a source image to help you out. And then we'll have it like a darker pink. Whoops. Switch my brush. But yeah, so I will see you guys in the next video, and hopefully I can come back and we'll do some more expressions. Be like a part 2 of sorts. Again, if you have any questions, just put them in the comments of, you know, and I can help you out with that. But basically, this is how you would, you know, you can make your own brushes. If your teeth aren't quite right, you can just edit them a bit. There we go. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will try to be on more regular if I can. I've been having problems with my iPad connecting, and I might have figured it out. I might have. Just can edit the front teeth. Again, the tools that we used the most were Liquify and the selection tool. We selected these bad boys, and we put these together. So again, if you have any questions, just give me a holler, and we can take this a little bit further. I apologize that we wasted so much time creating the character. The next video, what I'll do is I'll take our originals and we'll just edit it right on there. We won't change the eyes or anything like that. We'll just make expressions right off the bat. Okay? Alrighty, you guys, I will see you in the next video. And again, thank you for checking this out. I will put a message in the description to just pop on into the end and just kind of, you know, bypass some of the other stuff. That way you can see where we came from and where we're going. So the next video, instead of like building up a character from this character, we'll just go ahead and take this character and give her the expressions that she so richly deserves, based on maybe even something like this. It's not a bad thing to have for your characters, just a whole bunch of images of expressions, but the only thing you got to keep in mind is that a lot of these expressions are only side views. They're only front views. You know, so depending on what your story calls for, you may want to do it the same expression at different positions. You know, this is really cool. Or, you know, it's like, oh, I'm so tired, or I know you did not just say that. You know, those sort of things. So we'll play with that in the next video. Maybe we'll take some of these random ones and we'll spend an hour and just I'll show you how to manipulate the face, and you can do it from there. Alright, you guys, thanks again for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Lastly, I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick replay for those who are just joining or just don't have the time to sit through, I don't know how long we've been at this. I didn't pay attention, but again, I'll see you, 3 hours ago. Good Lord. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. And here's the time-lapse replay. And again, I'll just give a quick overview of what we did. We colored the character after bringing it in. We took out the background, the ghost background. Again, if you're going to do this, put them on, do them all at once. If you're going to color the skin, color all the skin. That way you don't have any inconsistencies with your character. Have an idea of what you want your character to look like, because this basically is just your template. You're not going to use this in your work. You're basically going to change it the way that you feel that it should be changed. And I can go through a couple, in the next video. I'll go through a couple of some that I've already done, if you haven't caught some of my other videos. And basically what I'm doing is just building up the character the way I think that she should be. I only focused on one face, took my time with it, and was just giving some advice. Some of the ways that I had done this is I had used layer styles, I forget what they're called, that affect the layer beneath, and then merged them. I showed how I would do my eyes, how I pretty much color, the thing about the lips, and smudge tool, my friend. Let's see, there we go. Yeah, it took about an hour or so to get there, but then I also showed how to create a brush. Poorly. And then we started on our first expression, first and only expression, based off of what we found with Elizabeth Montgomery's expression. So this one is just like an expression of shock. And a lot of this is like redundant, like we made a duplicate of the eyes, like edit one and then paste it on the other. The mouth, we made our own teeth. Depending on how realistic that you want to be, you can have a lot of fun editing these characters. But again, in EasyPose, you can't edit expressions in EasyPose. And that's what we started with, this particular thing. So we went from this to this. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw, and hopefully the next ones will be just as informative and just a little bit shorter. Have a great one. Bye-bye.